Hey everybody, welcome to Wine Blog with the Dog. My name is Greg and this show's about traveling through America's wine country with my dogs, Annie and Lucy. We're on this journey to uncover some hidden gems of the wine world, one dog-friendly vineyard at a time. Discovering forgotten varietals, meeting passionate winemakers and their pets, and of course making sure Annie and Lucy get VIP treatment. So let's grab a glass, get your leash, join me as we toast the unexpected. Cheers! Welcome to Wine Blog with the Dog.com podcast. This is March 17th, 2025. This is Annie and this is Lucy, and we're here for our podcast. You guys are going to let me do this today, right? I'm still excited a little bit, so we'll get going here with this. St. Patrick's Day. The year was 432 when Patrick, the patron saint of Ireland, converted Ireland to Christianity. The legend is he drove the snakes out of Ireland, although there were no snakes. I think that's a metaphor. And also that he used a shamrock to teach the Trinity. You okay there? You're okay there? Huh? We'll finish up all this stuff. We got to talk about a lot today. We're going to talk about the flight of the wild geese. Most people don't realize that Ireland and the Irish community back in the early 1700s and late 1600s were instrumental in the wine world in France and Spain, which eventually evolved to Australia and the United States, with families that still make wine today. We're going to talk about that. We'll also talk about our blind tasting yesterday with Pinot Noirs from the world. And we're going to end up with Annie and Lucy's favorite Irish wine pairings. Most people think, stout and Guinness and Irish whiskey. And of course, that's what made Ireland famous in the beverage industry. But it was interesting that in 1691, there was a Treaty of Limerick. And in that treaty, where the Protestants and the Catholics temporarily got along after a 9 Years' War, there was an agreement that the aristocrats could maintain the same status in France and in Spain. So these really rich Irish aristocrats moved, and they got immediately involved in the wine industry, and they were economically savvy. They had deep involvement in the trade routes from whiskey, and so when they got granted rights in France, they integrated into the local viticulture and were able to really transport wine. And so they were very instrumental, the Irish, in the 1700s of that. And that's called flight. They were flight of the wild geese. They called them geese because they were very organized in their travels with stuff. So yesterday we did a blind tasting. We did blind Pinot Noirs at Corey's. We had about maybe 6 or 7 somms, all bringing wines from around the world with Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir means black pine in France. One of the oldest and most expensive wines made. These are very sensitive wines because they're thin-skinned. And they're just really some of the oldest stuff. The Cistercian monks in Burgundy really started cultivating these wines really in a very early period in our history. These are dry, light-bodied. They have bright acidity, all of them medium acidity to high acidity. They have silky tannin, some of them. These wines run about 12 to 15% alcohol, but yesterday, I don't think we had one over 13 or 13.5. Annie, you're going to sit right there for a little bit with your Irish bandanas today. We're wearing green so nobody pinches us on St. Patty's Day. So, where would we expect to find these Pinots from? Southern Hemisphere and Northern Hemisphere, but they seem to all cultivate great in very narrow corridors around the world. So in Australia, Yarra Valley and Mornington Peninsula, you'd expect to find good Pinots from. Yesterday we didn't have any from that area. Also New Zealand, Central Otago for sure is a great Pinot production area in the world. We did have one from New Zealand yesterday, but it was further north. It was from Marlborough, where you would expect to find very bright acidic Sauvignon Blancs, a little bit more wet, Then Central Otago, they have the Andes Mountains, believe it or not, still come down from South America into New Zealand. And there's a rain shadow effect that helps them do that. Also in South Africa, Stellenbosch makes great Pinots. We had none from there. Moving north, in Germany, in the Pfalz region, they make Pinot. It's called Spätburgunder. And Spätburgunder, very excellent wines. Again, some of the most expensive in the world. Probably the most important region for Pinot Noirs, though, has been Burgundy, Côte de Beaune and Côte de Nuit. This is a Côte de Beaune we had yesterday. Very good. Strawberry, cranberry, raspberry. Had some violet in it. But was missing the flavor that I get when I get Oregon Pinots. And that's like cherry cola. Cherry cola, and then also California too. Santa Barbara makes Pinot, Sonoma, Carneros. And those wines from California, a little thicker in body, a little heavier weight, and probably a little bit more tannic with that. Pinot Noir is great, about 125 calories per glass, 650 calories per bottle. If you're counting that, you should serve this cold, 55 degrees or less. I like it a little bit cooler than 55 degrees. And when you open a Pinot, they last for about 1 to 3 days. They don't really have the body that other of the heavier reds would get. So these are great. We did have some Oregon wine. I brought a Furioso Pinot to the party yesterday, and some of the Psalms wanted to take that home and do a further study in another group. So they took probably 6 of the bottles home. But this is a Stoller Pinot that I have here, and I had it opened this weekend. This is from the Dundee Hills area of Oregon. Fabulous area. We love going up to Dundee Hills, Eola, Eola Amity, where the gods of wind is what it's named after. A lot of wind coming through there in that pass. But Dundee Hills is amazing. Renaissance is there. Domaine de Broye. We love Stoller. Again, we've been members for a long time up there. Just a fantastic region that I would love to take these guys to. Annie's a traveler. She loves traveling. This one right here gets a little bit anxious and stuff with when we travel. But she still loves in the car. But this is like that student on the playground that cries 3-4 times a week, has a lot of drama, but is a love child. So on this St. Patrick's Day, March 17th, 2025, Annie and Lucy would like to also talk just a little bit about our favorite pairings, our Irish wine pairings. But typically, you would think people would be drinking more Guinness and more stout beer, but there are some great pairings. Number one, shepherd's pie. With a shepherd's pie, an Irish shepherd's pie, probably pair that with like a Grenache or a Merlot, with something with softer tannins, because you're going to want that savory combination with meat and potatoes, especially the creaminess of mashed potatoes with garlic and lots of butter would go great with that. Another one I think you would probably like would be some corned beef and cabbage. And that herbaceousness of that meal, you'd probably want something with some pyrazines. So a Cab Franc would be great. Something with good acidity, or possibly a tart Zinfandel would be also good. You'd like that, wouldn't you? With some corned beef. Yep, that's right up your alley right there. Another one would be lamb Irish stew. That gamey lamb and rich broth. You could probably take one of these Pinots here, an earthy Pinot from Oregon, from Dundee or from McMinnville would be great. You'd also do, like I say, a Tempranillo from Spain would be good with that gamey lamb and rich broth. You'd just be fantastic. These guys would love it. I know that. Then the last one would be probably more up my aisle. I love fish and chips. I love crisp acidity with wine, a Sauvignon Blanc or an Albarino that pairs well with white flaky fish. And then, of course, a really creamy tartar sauce with dill, pickle, and some other herbs and spices, and that would make it really, really good. So we hope you guys have a great St. Patrick's Day. Again, we got a trip coming up to Utah, the three of us, and we're going to go to Zion Park, and we're going to hit some of those wineries right there and meet some of the dog owners and winemakers that have good dogs. So we hope you guys are blessed today and you find luck of the Irish. Remember, today was a day of revelry and celebration of all things Irish. So wishing you some luck, whether you're playing backgammon on your phone or studying Duolingo or just looking for a parking place downtown, someplace close. Cheers. I'd like to thank you for taking time to listen to my podcast, Wine Blog with the Dog, where we're on the ultimate road trip through America's vineyards, where the wine is rare, the grapes are obscure, and dogs are always welcome. I hope you have a fantastic week, and until next time, cheers.